strange seat. Me. Right, let's talk about some weird stuff. There's no way I can mention any of this without sounding an absolute fruitcake. This is another reason why over the past months I've just not mentioned it much. But it's got to be said, and it will be rehashed and presented in better ways. I'll probably miss some bits out even as well. But let's just get on with it. Right, aliens. What are they? Do they exist? The answer is, sort of. Depends what you mean by the word. Now, there's a big fat deception coming, or a set of them, I believe. The world is gearing everybody up for it. Hollywood, TV, History Channel, things like this, all pushing a certain narrative. In the past, if you spoke about aliens, you'd be seen as a complete nutball. Now it's becoming more accepted. So what they kind of, if you watch Agent Aliens, or if you watch Agent Origins, or Agent Astronaut Archive, or Viper TV, or Wisdom Matrix, or Uman TV, or what's the other one? Whatever, those sort of things, because I do watch them sometimes, they have some bits of truth in amongst a lot of bull. They've all pushed on the same story, which essentially they want us all to believe that the Anunnaki, the Sumerian sort of gods if you like, created us by genetically engineering monkeys, and they made us to be gold miners, slaves. And essentially they want us to believe that they are our gods, and therefore, you know, a creator doesn't exist. We're just all humanistic, naturalistic, you know, aliens, basically. That's what they're trying to push. So when the Antichrist, or replacement Christ comes, whoever he is, whatever he is, a lot of people are going to believe him. And obviously he's probably going to be convincing, partially due to all this programming. But there's a double bluff on the go as well, because although there's all this weird stuff going on, certain elements are true. And this is how deceptions are often made. You mix truth and error together. This is also why I look at other things, because I do recognise that there are bits of truth in other things, but you've got to be very, very careful. And if you don't have a strong biblical grounding, you're more likely to believe stuff that's wrong, and therefore do things that's wrong. So, if you look at what the people who get abducted say, they could be lying. I believe a lot of them are telling the truth as to what they experienced or thought they experienced. But if you study these things, they often say they got tuckered up into a big sort of flying saucer, right? They got bum probed, essentially, is where all the jokes come from, okay? They had sperm taken from them. Apparently they had a second visitation and were shown like a baby hybrid, human-alien hybrid. These things project fear onto people. Some of them smell like sulphur. And a lot of them teach New Age type of theosophy, which is a mixture of religions. A bit like what the Pope's trying to do. New World Order type stuff. So it's like, what, so these things supposedly evolved over billions of years on planets miles and miles away, travelled here, and then wants to debunk Yahushua, or Jesus. Really? I'm not convinced. But the beings themselves, I do think exist. Now, the typical alien grey, what do they look like? Big fucking bug eyes, kind of goes pointy, usually 3 or 4 fingers with bulbous ends, long skinny arms, big light bulb shaped head, and they apparently are androgynous or hermaphrodite. They've got no willy or muff. They have to reproduce through genetic engineering, it seems. Now, if you look at what Yohanan or John said in the book of Revelation, he said, I saw unclean spirits that look like frogs. And if you compare them, the visual of a frog and the characteristics of a frog to an alien grey, they're very, very similar. I think they're the same thing. That's my conclusion on the matter. There could be some that are good, not convinced, but I don't know everything, do I? Now, like I says, lots of these red flags with all these things, the things they teach and what they do. You go back to Genesis chapter 6. You go back to the book of Hanok, or Enoch as everybody says. It talks about these sons of God who came down, had sex with the daughters of men, and produced giants and hybrids. The book of Jasher talks about mixing animal species together. They're doing it in labs now, they're even open about it on the news. Right, so genetic engineering is ancient. Nothing new under the sun. We're doing it today again. right? And so you have these beings in the past who are fiddling around with corrupting the genome, in my opinion, to stop the Messiah being born, and also obviously just to wreck humanity and wreck what Yahuwah, the Creator, has made. It all gets a bit crazy. But there's another angle to all this. You see, in the scriptures of the Bible, we have what's called angels. The translated is angels, right? And if you look at the word angel, right, in Hebrew it's malach, right, and in Greek it's angelos, and it means messenger. It doesn't necessarily mean what we think it means. We all have these images in our mind of a effeminate, thin-looking person with wings, glowing white or gold, and I still believe that may be true, or at least for some of them. But excuse me, there's different types. The word just means messenger, so that could be absolutely any being of any race or whatever you want to call them. Every culture and religion almost talks about these beings that come from the skies, the heavens, or dimensions, or the stars, right? They all talk about it, because beings did come down. In the beginning, it was to teach people the correct way. Then obviously Nephilim, some became fallen, did all the genetic engineering, all the stupid stuff. And again at the Tower of Babel, they come down again, under Yahuwah's command, by the way, it seems. He actually wanted these beings to rule the nations, but they did things wrong. They become the pagan gods. This is what I believe now. It sounds crazy, but this is where everything's leading, I think. And so, these angels, these sons of God, could be considered aliens if you understand that an alien just means a stranger, someone who's not from here. Because at the end of the day, these beings claim to come from the heaven, the dimension, or these skies. In other words, they're not from Earth, which would sort of make them extraterrestrial, but not in the humanistic, godless, evolutionary sort of worldview that this TV and all the systems trying to push upon us to believe. That's the difference. So, angels could be considered aliens in a way. Now it brings another question. What about all these flying saucers? Well, some of these flying saucers disappear. Gone. I've seen one, by the way, a triangular pyramid type thing, blinking, lights going around it, going up by the moon at daytime, and then gone. I've seen one. Probably about 10-15 years ago. So they disappear. One of two options on that. They can just dimensionally shift because of spiritual, or it's some special sort of cloaking technology. We've got some of that. We've had a lot for quite a while anyway. But either way, they disappear and come back in, visually and on radar. I put UFOs down to 4 categories. One's proper UFOs or UAPs, things that still haven't identified after studying them. Number 2 is government black ops projects, okay? Things I don't want you to know about, things that might even be reverse engineered from category 3 or 4, or 3 I should just say. Category 3, these are my categories, this is what I consider. Again, angels, demons, fallen angels, aliens, whatever you want to call them. Other beings that come from out there or a different dimension. Right? And then 4 would be the chariots of Yahuwah. It sounds a bit crazy, right? It's in the scripture all over the place. Yahuwah commands a fleet of chariots. It's written. Took me a lot of time to get used to that. I've studied it out. It's just there all the time. And it seems that the scriptures also use a word that doesn't say chariots. They use other descriptions to describe the same sort of thing. Ezekiel or Yechezkel, he saw these cherubs, that seem to be connected to or controlling a set of 2 wheels, a wheel and a wheel. You can visualise that as your typical flying saucer, or you can visualise that as like a, I don't know, you can visualise it in many different ways. There's lots of different artistic depictions. You read Ezekiel, some people think it's just talking about the cycles of the skies, you know, the heavens, the zodiac system. I believe that's true as well, layered meanings again. But he definitely saw, I believe, an actual machine type thing. That was spiritual as well. So let's go back again. People will object to this crazy notion and say, you know, they can't because angels are spiritual, therefore they wouldn't have technology. But there's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. Angels, according to the scripture, have swords. They have flaming swords. They wear clothes. The New Jerusalem has gold-paved cities. It has mansions. It has doors that are shaped out of a gigantic pearl, right? That's technology, it's stuff that's made. And the new Jerusalem, is said in the book of Revelation to come from the skies, or heaven, down to earth. A gigantic city that moves through the sky, right? It's a spaceship. I'm not saying it has machines or motors, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, maybe it just moves because of, you know, the magic of God, Elohim's energies, I don't know. But either way, it goes through the sky, and it comes here. And the Mashiach, the Messiah, establishes rule here. And the New Jerusalem's here as well. Right? Talking about this, even now I feel weird. I'm out the way. I don't really want people to hear me, because it sounds so nuts. It does. But I want to express it, and like I said, I'm going to put this into the videos. It's going to be... let's get an haircut and all. It's going to be put in other videos. I'm going to use visuals and make it nice and clear. I'm going to show many things from the scripture, word studies a lot, because it's all leading towards a big deception. And this is the main point, we know there's going to be an Antichrist, a false Mashiach, a false Yahushua or Jesus that people believe, but we also know there's going to be a genuine second coming of Mashiach or Christ. And in the book of Revelation it says, and other places, all the nations are going to gather together and try and blow him out of the sky. It ain't going to work. Why in the world would all the nations, all the kings of the earth, the governors, the czars, the presidents, the prime ministers, all that, the sultans, why would they be stupid enough to try to think they can attack the creator of the universe? The only thing I can see is if when Yahushua comes back with the clouds, it also says he comes back with horses and whirlwinds and chariots, he's going to look like an alien, and his host of heaven are going to look like an alien invasion. That's what we've been programmed to. So we see him, we go, oh no, it's the aliens are going to attack us. And the government's trying to attack them, and it doesn't work. That's what I think's going on. Sounds absolutely bonkers, but that's what I think's going on, because I can't see any other reason why everybody would try and attack him. It just doesn't make sense. But if everybody looks and thinks, oh, he's an alien, he's coming with his ships, then everyone's going to panic, aren't they? And actually, technically, it is an alien invasion, because he's going to be destroying loads of people. That's written in the scriptures. I think that 1/3 of the whole earth is going to be destroyed and all the people in it. So Yahushua is going to come back. He's pissed off. He wants you to be with him, but it's on his terms. And he's going to establish rule here. So yeah, you could look at it as an alien invasion. Right, I've now gone into the world of craziness. You probably think I'm off my tits, so I'm going to leave the video here. Drop us some comments, don't run away. We're going to have plenty of scripture later to back all this up. You don't need to be scared about it. I know the paradigm shift is awkward. It took me a while to get through it. But you're going to see it over and over. And if you don't accept at least some form of this, then you're going to think they're all bad. And the Nephilim, the ones that fell, came from something that was good. So it implies, again, you're going to have good ones, you're going to have bad ones. Right. See you in a bit.